What it do? What it do? It's Sosa. I'm back. New show. It's gonna be called Win the Day. I like Sosa picks games, but I just didn't like it at the same time. It was kind of boring. I know Win the Day has been a slogan for like a bunch of different things like back in the day, but nothing major at this particular moment. And I just like the name. So let's win the day. Been off for a week, haven't been in the best of health, haven't been feeling great, but I'm good to go now. Got a clean bill from the doc, and things are looking up. I'm a pretty happy guy right now. Looking forward to obviously baseball season. Don't worry, plenty of baseball content on the way. Just been getting my thoughts together. Should be doing some stuff with Commish here in the near future. Um, but yeah, other than that, NCAA tournament just took place. I got about 10 or 11 teams out of my 16, so I'm not feeling too terrible. A lot of the mid-major teams and a lot of like just crapshoot stuff going on in the first couple of rounds. I mean, it was chalk, but it wasn't chalk. We saw a couple of one seeds get eliminated. Yeah, just pretty much a huge surprise, to be totally honest, with certain teams. Kansas losing to Arkansas, Houston getting through against Auburn, Texas taking a bit care of business against Penn State, Alabama, kind of rolling. Um, and then, yesterday we saw Marquette take a L to Izzo. Izzo doing his thing as always, showing up when it matters most. Baylor getting sent home by Creighton. Creighton playing their best basketball right now. How about Florida Atlantic beating Fairleigh Dickinson? I mean, that's the matchup we all had, right? Out of the first two games. Yeah, I know. And then obviously Miami, Larinaga, he's making a name for himself yet again, like he didn't already have one when he took a George Mason team to the Final Four. But the guy is obviously, doing really well at Miami. Has built a pretty damn good program to be back in the Sweet 16. UConn rolling, Hawkins hitting shots, Sonogo looking like a Mecca Okafor out there. It's just been, a very interesting tournament. Gonzaga obviously winning a close one for anybody that bet that -4 last night. Yikes, rough way to lose that one. I continue to believe. I think it's Gonzaga's year. I think the games are going to be less impressive. Everybody wants a blowout. I think they're going to figure out a way. Um, that's just my personal belief. I think Mark Few, in a year where there's low expectations and the play has been relatively average across the board. I think this is, the year where, the Gonzaga program figures out a way. We'll obviously have more picks here in the near future for the for college ball, especially for the tournament. Going to really turn up some volume. On the NBA side of things, the Nuggets won a game against the Nets, as we all have seen since the last time we were here. The MVP odds have closed. Uh, they've narrowed a bit. Joel Embiid's actually overtaken Nikola Jokic. Obviously, he's on this crazy 30-point streak where he just passed Allen Iverson for most consecutive 30-point games for a 76er player. He's just absolutely dominating. And yes, I brought up the Nuggets and immediately moved to Joel Embiid because that's just how I roll. The fucking Hawks lost to the Spurs yesterday. As much hope as we have for a new coach, it's going to take a while for Quinn Snyder to get right in Atlanta. It's going to take him a little bit. It's not just going to be an off the cuff sort of thing. He's going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to get him some more pieces and some players that just fit what he wants to do offensively and defensively. He taking care of business against the Pistons, the Thunder beating the Suns. Obviously, the Suns are in desperate need of health. They've had health issues all season. For a team that's had a relatively great training staff in the past, they've gotten lots of love for the way they've taken care of players. Just a bad luck year for when it comes to injuries. Obviously, KD, tweaking his ankle was just. I mean, when they traded for him, he was down. So regardless of the fact, it is what it is. The Pelicans getting their lick back against the Rockets after Jabari Smith jaded them and sent them home. The Bucks going 118-111 against the Raps. The Clippers going 117-102 against the Trailblazers. Looking like Damian Lillard just isn't 100% right now. They might be shutting him down from what I've been reading. And obviously the Lakers took care of business against the Orlando Magic. Austin Reeves getting the prime Shaquille O'Neal whistle down the stretch. Who the fuck would have thought that? Did not see that one coming. My goodness, got every fucking call in the book down the stretch. It's insanity. Um, so yeah, with that being said, let's get into today's slate. Got 5 plays in total for the people, um, all in the NBA. And let's just get to the first one. The first one is going to be Tobias Harris over 11.5 points. Tobias has been banged up. A lot of people who don't really follow the 76ers don't really know that he hasn't been 100% over the last month or so. He's been battling a couple of nagging injuries. Um, so his numbers, his minutes have fluctuated. They've tried to get him right. It looks like he's finally returning to form. Last 2 games, he's gotten his minutes back. Obviously, against the Chicago Bulls tonight at home, 11.5. I think it's a steal at -115. Obviously, his season average has plummeted based on the fact that he had about a 12-game stretch where he just didn't look right. He just simply was not making his shots, was not being consistent, although he was just continuing to be an extreme professional. I don't think a lot of people understand the burden that he's had to take on as an NBA player. He's had to change his role a various number of times over the last 3 seasons based on what they wanted him to do, whether it was catch and shoot threes with James Harden in the lineup, whether it was be the secondary scorer, which then he was overtaken by Tyrese Maxey, and then we traded for James Harden. So a lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to adjust to your role continuously changing, especially in this day and age where it's championship or bust, and you just got to figure it out on the fly. You don't get a ton of time in between the changing of regimes, the changing of players. But we do like Tobias tonight at over 11.5. He scored 12 plus in 13 of the last 14 matches against Chicago. He's played really well against them. He's gotten 30 minutes plus in all of those games except for one. Just really love the number 11.5. We're also going to bet him at 15 plus at plus 210. All these odds are currently available on FanDuel. And yeah, like I said, I firmly believe that Tobias Harris comes out here and assumes the role of a scorer and puts up good numbers at home against a Chicago team that's going to be desperate. I think we're going to get a pretty wide open ball game, even though Chicago has been better defensively this season as of years past. But the first play, obviously, like I said, Tobias Harris over 11.5 points at -115 and 15 plus at plus 210. And our next play on the board is going to be Klay Thompson. Over 4.5 3-pointers made right now. It's at plus 132. You're getting a lot of value. What is there to say about Klay Thompson that's not been said in regards to the way he's played against Houston this season? He's hit 12 and 10 in the 2 games respectively. Excuse me. Why would it change now? I think this play is obviously based on volume and recent history. He has not hit 5 threes in 5 of his last 6. I'm sorry. And the Warriors are just fucking abysmal on the road. They're fucking terrible on the road. There's no excuses for the way they've played all season. They really do miss Andrew Wiggins. I would love to see him back this season. I think that he would really give them a shot in the arm and would really just elevate them better to a different height on both sides of the ball. He plays great defense. He can score the ball. He can get to the foul line, something that they just don't do at a regular clip late in ball games. They just simply do not. They don't get a lot of foul shots. They just they rely on elite shot making from the best shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA, and Jordan Poole, being a guy on Adderall that they can deal with from time to time. So yeah, over 4.5 3-pointers made at plus 132. Just love the history of him against Houston as of recently, and just he's looked great against them. And I wouldn't put it past the Warriors being able to beat a team that is not necessarily trying to win, even though they've locked up one of the 4 worst records in the NBA. Just don't see it. So I have 2 more plays in the NBA, and I'll leave you with the FanDuel players only parlay. The 2 plays that I absolutely love tonight are the Sacramento Kings team total over 122.5. The Utah Jazz are giving it up. I mean, they've given it up, all post All-Star break, going against a team that's just extremely efficient offensively. They've been great all year in the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings also trying to reel in that second spot in the West. I think it's a big game for them. They know they need it. They know they want to win tonight. Their team total is set at 122.5. Wouldn't be opposed to you taking it to 125. Right now, that number is at -114, available on FanDuel. Really do love for them to continue to be that offensive juggernaut that they've been all year, going against a Utah team that's going to give it up. And the second play that I absolutely love tonight is the Philadelphia 76ers team total over 116.5 going up against a Chicago team. Like I expressed earlier, I believe that it's a wide open game. I think both teams can have their way offensively to some extent. However, don't be afraid. I think that, again, I do believe that the Philadelphia 76ers go for 116.5, 117, and minus 118 on FanDuel right now. Make sure you lock it in, and hopefully, we can cash out tonight. With that being said, I don't really have too much. We're going to win the day every single fucking day. Okay? I wanted to keep it daily bread. It's just not the same. Got it. Can't do daily bread with just anybody. And, Sosa picks games. It wasn't working. So we're going to win the day every day. Again, appreciate anybody that rocks with me. And yeah, let's continue to get to it. Peace.